Today I'm checking out the WLToys Q323. Now apparently it's going to fly for 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do is get it in the air and then start talking about it, otherwise this video will be too long. So this is a WLToys transmitter. I'm going to stick it in the highest rate, which is 100% there, and then we have a takeoff button and then it launches into the air and that's it. So this looks to be a copy of the XKX251. It is a brushed version of it. So I didn't realize this, but WLToys and XK are actually the same company. So they have taken that design and they have made a brushed version. So the reason this thing flies so long is its battery. It's got a 2-cell, 2,300 milliamp battery, which is huge for a brushed model, but it seems to cope with it. And it also has tri-blades. Now this is something that I'm noticing a lot on these brush models, is they're starting to use tri-blades, and it's not really needed. In fact, I think if they had used just a normal double blade, it would have flown for even longer, because tri-blade really it's just for performance, as in punch. So let's see what this one is like. It's got some nice LEDs on it and you can turn those off. So actually it's got a fair amount of power, but this one is an altitude hold quadcopter, so it has got its power limited anyways. So yeah, tri-blades not really needed. I guess it is going to be more stable with tri-blades. Does seem a little bit twitchy in this 100% mode, but that is because the transmitter is using Xbox style sticks there, and the resolution of those sticks isn't very good compared to proper gimbals. So this is a Wi-Fi FPV model, and it does look to be stuttering on the screen. So again, with Wi-Fi FPV, you can only really use the camera to sort of line up your shot, and it's really a line of sight model, but it's flying really nice. So it does have a flip function, this button here, so let's see how that works. So it's just a short press and then move either the roll or the pitch, so it should be able to do a forward flip, I think. So let's try that. Yeah, it does flips really nice and quick actually. So as I mentioned, WLToys transmitter, so all of these buttons here, if you could see them on the camera, these are your different rates. So it goes from 40 to 100, but it's quite a windy day here today, so I'm keeping it in 100. And then this button here should turn the LEDs off, so let's see if that works. So short press of that one, yeah, LEDs turn off, and then short press again turns them back on. Now I believe that if you long press the 100% trim, then that will send it into one key return, and then if you long press the LED, that should send it into headless mode, but I'm not a big fan of either of those functions, so I'm not going to do that. As for the range, you're going to want to keep this one in to about 30 meters, otherwise you're going to lose your FPV signal there. And then of course I've got the app on here as well. I'm not sure that's going to show up because it's a sunny day here today, but it's a very similar app to the Wi-Fi UFO app that I have shown in the past. I'm just using the app here to record. So this model doesn't have a SD card. It just has the FPV on the screen and it's recording it on the phone. It looks like the app's crashed there, look at that. So I don't know if I'm actually going to get any video there. So let's see if I can boot it back up and let's see if it will work. Open app again, see if it lets me connect to it. So I'm going to press start here and let's see if gets opened, and let's see if it records again. It looks like it's going to. Oh, it looks like it's frozen again, actually. No, there you go, it's recording again, but I don't know if it actually will have saved any video that time. Probably not, I would say. But yeah, like I say, you can actually fly it off the phone. There's like options to have altitude hold on the phone and a gyro, etc. But I don't do that when you have a controller, because again, the amount of range is very limited. There is a VR mode on the app, so you can use goggles, but I wouldn't recommend it with Wi-Fi at all. So what I want to do is just get a little bit of video recorded, because I really don't think it will have recorded anything. And it's stuttering on the phone as well. I think what I would do with this one is take one of those little all-in-one cameras and stick it on there, because one of the things that people say to me a lot is, oh, I'm not going to bother with quadcopters or drones until the flight time is at least 15 minutes. Well, here you go. This one should fly for 15 minutes. But this Wi-Fi FPV system is not very good. I can see it's just locking up here. So I would stick an FPV camera on this, and then you've got a 15-minute flight time out of it. Now, for me personally, I've always been a fan of quality over quantity. I'd rather something fly fantastic for 4 minutes rather than just sort of potter about for 15 minutes. But that's just my preference, and a lot of people want better flight time, so this thing is going to give you that. So what I want to do is, let's just spin it around. One thing I didn't mention is the camera on this one you can adjust. So the trim button on the throttle there, if you move it down, the camera should move down, I think. Or is it up? Is that doing it? Yeah, it is doing it. It's just slow. And the field of view on the camera isn't that great, so let's just get a little bit of height on. You're just looking at the ground there. So it's good that it does it. It has a little servo on board, and also the camera is like a pod as well. And this is really more useful for WLToys than us, but the camera slides out and you could put their 720p camera in there if you want. I'm actually going to stop the video recording, or I'm going to try. So hopefully it will have saved something, because I'm not too sure it will have saved anything when the app crashed. So you could take a photo as well, but I never really fly these things for photo, just for video. Let's start the video recording again. So they said a 15-minute flight time. I can believe it with this one. That's why I went and took it off straight away rather than sort of explaining it for 15 minutes. One thing that I like about this model is that it comes complete in its box. So there's no construction whatsoever. However, it's a blooming huge box that it comes in. You get given some spare propellers, so a spare set of propellers, and you do actually have some prop guards as well, which I haven't installed because obviously that's going to put the weight of the model up. And I want it as light as possible to get a longest flight time as possible. You get given a balance charger with it, and one thing I don't like about the battery is it is proprietary. It's just using the balance port. I don't know if I'll be able to show you this here, see if I can get it close enough. So it's just the balance port plugged into the back of the quadcopter, so there's no on and off switch, and there's no sort of JST connector. So the battery charges off its balance port as well, and of course it usually charges at about 0.8 amps, so you're looking at about a 3-hour charge time for that as well. So that's a bit of a downside for me. I would like to have seen a JST connector on the back there, so I could take other batteries maybe and charge them up. I mean, there's nothing stopping you getting spare batteries for this, of course, but it is going to limit the charge time just having the balance port on the back. I have to say though, it's a nice flyer. Going to fly it around here. You'll notice I'm keeping it in close, and that is because the video will disconnect. I imagine though, with it being WLToys, you're probably good for about 100 meters if you want to turn the video off. Of course, you probably won't be able to see it when it's 100 meters away. Is that the lights flashing then? I can't tell because it's too sunny. Let's have a look. No, I don't think the lights are flashing yet. Yeah, I think this would be a good one to stick one of those all-in-one cameras on. Of course, you need to find 5 volts for that, because this is a 2-cell battery, so I'd probably stick like a little 1-cell battery on it. Nice looking thing this. I really like the XKX251. So if you want a cheapened down version of that with brush motors, then this is the one. So of course it's using gears on the arms there, but it's not really loud. And like I say, you'll get a much better flight time out of this brush model than you would the XKX251, because we're using gears, as I say, and we've got that huge battery. It looks like the video is still recording there. Again, I think I'm going to stop it so we have something to look at. I think it may have crashed actually because of my fault, you know. I've got a screen rotation app on this phone, and that tends to upset a lot of these Wi-Fi apps. Tends to crash it when it rotates, and I probably wasn't keeping the phone level. I don't know. Maybe I'm cutting it too much slack. What do you think? I know a lot of people don't like Wi-Fi quadcopters, and neither do I really. I would have loved to have seen the FPV model of this. So it's been flying for some time now. Wonder if it'll still let me do a flip. Yes, it will. A lot of the time with these quadcopters, when the battery starts to deplete, it will stop you doing flips, but not with this one. It's still going. So it looks like it really is going to fly for a long time. What I'll do is, when it comes in for a landing, because I imagine it's going to land itself, I will put a little sort of display over it to say how long it's been flying for. One thing I don't like about this model is that it's got altitude hold, but they haven't taken advantage of that with the spring-loaded sticks and offered mode 1 to 4. It just comes with mode 2, which I always think is a bit of a shame. You could take advantage of that and please a lot more people, and also be able to market it to more people, which they haven't done. So there you go. I'm trying to see if there's any more functions in this one. This button up here does nothing. I think it starts and stops video recording when you have the like HD model, but it won't do anything on this one. Of course, we have headless mode and 1 key return. I don't want to try those functions out. Now, some people say they're great for beginners. I don't think that at all. I think it confuses a beginner. It confuses me. I'm sort of an intermediate now, I would say, in mode 2. And when I stick on headless mode, certainly 1 key return, which never works correctly. I never know which stick to put in. I think it's always better to learn how to fly properly. And then once you've cracked it, if you want to try headless mode for doing some maneuvers sort of with a constant yaw, then, you know, headless mode is useful for that. But again, I rarely do that sort of thing anyway. So I have no idea how long I've been flying for, but it feels like a long time. And this is sort of what I get at when it comes to flight time. You know, if you've got a quadcopter with limited features, then, you know, a 15-minute flight time is a bit too much. Anyways, we've got some flashing lights here. So it looks like that's LVC, so I'm going to stop the video recording there. So let's just see how long it will fly for now, because these things usually land themselves with the altitude hold. So let's bring it in a bit if I can. See if I can get it to land at my feet. It's like it's got a decent LVC. A lot of these quadcopters they tend to just land themselves straight away, and that's no good if you are flying away from yourself, trying to battle it with the wind here. Is it landing itself? No, I think it's just bobbing up and down with the altitude hold there. Let's see if I can move this way. Don't want it to crash. Looks like, is it landing itself? No. Yes. There you go. It did land itself. So there you go. That is my review of the WLToys Q323. I like it. It's just a shame it's Wi-Fi FPV. I would like to have seen 5.8 gigahertz. I think would be a lot more useful. I'll put a link in the description if you wish to get one. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.